Here you go. Hello everyone, this is Ocular Cavity here. We're doing a bit of new kind of content that we normally don't do. This is going to be kind of art focused because now that I've got my digital art setup kind of going where I can use it, I'm going to start trying to make some videos like this and maybe some videos to help out, maybe just some videos for fun. Well, today I've come across a YouTuber called T.R.Dasilva who's doing started doing like a 30-day challenge, kind of learning how to draw, and is continuing to do it, and he's struggling. And so this is going to be kind of a reply video for him. Hopefully that I can help him out with a couple of helpful hints. And if you guys can, go over, check out his channel, give him some likes, and if you have any helpful hints, be helpful. Don't be mean or discourative or anything like that. We all need some help, is whatever help we can get. So he was asking in this video, most recently video, that if it was a good idea to sketch, and this reply video is basically saying, yeah, it's a good idea to sketch, and it's probably best. Contour line drawing is very hard to do, and unless you're really, really good, they're gonna always look worse than what you do normally. So I recommend sketching, and even more so to sketching, the reason why I'm doing this video is there's a certain approach I think he should do when he's sketching. I'm going to show a clip of his video with the audio turned down, so if you want to see the rest of it, go to his channel. I'll have it linked below, and we'll show what I feel like is something that it would definitely help him out, have an easier time drawing. So let's go. Okay, here we go. Here's the part where he was drawing. So he was drawing some things that were around his room, and he had an anime figurine. Apparently this is a Yamato from One Piece, and he was drawing her. And one of the things, and I'll let this whole clip play with him drawing her in here, and then I'm going to stop it in areas where I think that there's something important to say. So that's his clip going through here. So we're going to go back. And the audio for this video, I originally recorded this on my tablet, but all the pen noises got transferred through, so it ended up being too bad for me to use. So I'm just going to play through the video that I recorded and then fast forward through it so you guys can kind of get the quick version of it. So when we start playing it again, right around, go back, come on, here we go. So here we go, and we'll stop here. Okay, so right here, he's already placing the eyes. Now, this isn't the worst thing in the world or anything, but if you're new to drawing, and like I said, I was at this, when I was at the skill level, I did the same thing, where you put too much detail into the character too soon. Having eyes on a character that doesn't have a torso yet it's not gonna ruin the drawing, but it's gonna be wrong. It's gonna be in the wrong place until you're really, really good, because even I don't place the eyes and the head in the right place when I first start. So it's kind of like, you want to draw most of the character before you start placing details. Like as you see, he's already gotten rid of the head and the eyes because they were wrong, and he didn't know they were wrong until he drew the body. So that's like kind of wasting time, time that you could be spending working on the character when you're changing, things that you put too much detail in too soon. And all of us, I know anybody that I've met, and a lot of my friends and me as well, we all start drawing with kind of heavy finish lines really, really early, and you almost want to draw out like the detailed head before you've drawn the rest of the body, and it's cause trouble. It's always best to just kind of draw as much of the character as loosely and as lightly as you can, as quickly as possible. So after we go through this clip, I'm going to fast forward to where I started drawing. I took his drawing, minimized it, and put it in the corner. There we go. Oops, sorry. You can go back forward. I took his drawing and minimized it, put it in the corner, and then used it kind of as a loose reference to draw this character. Now, I didn't know this was Yamato when I drew this picture, so it's going to look like just generic anime girl kind of in a robe, or a kind of shrine girl robe-ish looking thing. So in mine, as soon as I started, I drew the head, did some simple shapes, because when you're drawing a torso, I'm going to pause it here for a moment, you can break things down into simple shapes like the torso, and where the legs are going to attach, where the shoulders are going to attach. I use circles because it's what I'm familiar with, but you could use triangles, squares, rectangles, cylinders, whatever's easy. And then I started doing the basic legs, and then I showed, if you wanted to add a sassiness to this pose, you could add a kilter to the hips to make it a little bit more interesting, but I was just going to leave it straight and very vanilla. This picture, I did this pretty quick, it's maybe an hour, but I was just kind of screwing around, and none of the details or the proportions are really good, but this just kind of gives you an idea that as you're going through a drawing, you kind of basically draw most of the body before you, anything. So I've got the whole body drawn here, and haven't put a face on it, haven't put eyes on it, didn't put hair on it, no clothes on it. That's another thing too. You don't want to have clothing before you have a body yet. So if we go back to his, let's see, where in the clip is it when we were looking at his, he drew the Hakama pants before he even got the legs drawn. and it'll end up making them look a bit more foreign when you do that. So it's best to have the legs or the body part that's going to be under the clothing drawn first before you start putting clothing on it. So from this point on, that's basically the biggest hint, is that you want to have a whole torso drawn, a whole pose drawn before you start putting clothes on it. Now after this, I got carried away and started having fun, so I just started screwing around and drawing, just because drawing is fun. And unfortunately, this recording had all the pencil scratching on it, so there's no way I could keep that. So I'm basically just going to scrub through all the footage so you can see where, as I slowly go along, I just slowly keep refining and refining and refining the shape, make it a little bit cleaner, make it a little bit svelter, put things that are in there. None of it ended up in the perfect place, but I shortened the legs, all those little things you do. You tighten it up as you go along, and each layer that you tighten up ends up looking a little bit better, a little closer to what you want. Same with the robe. I started off with the robe open, then I tightened it up a little bit, kind of gave her kind of a pleat, kind of a skirt, kind of bottom to the robe. I added a little bit of pleat to it, added a little bit of shadow here and there, and did some pleating lines, but I didn't go into too much detail because this was just kind of screwing around. Then it wasn't until after I'd gotten through all that I started moving in on the face, after you've placed everything else. So this is not a perfect drawing or a great drawing, it's just me kind of screwing around. And so once I get to the hair, I always end up putting more time into the hair than I probably should, because it's one of my favorite things to do. So then I started working on the eyes, and since this picture will never get colored, I just did a little bit of eye rendering with black and white. This is all done with the same pen. I didn't change pens during this whole thing. I just used, as you can see here, I just used the G pen, and the only difference between this G pen and the standard one is I linked the size and the opacity to pressure sensitivity. So if I press harder, it gets darker, and if it's lighter, it's more of a gray, and so it gives me a bit more of a pencil feel to it. So I went there, started doing the eyes, and then did a little bit of rendering just to give the eyes some personality, darken them in, give them some shading, and then moved over to the other eye, did the same thing, darken it in, gave it a little bit of shading, a little bit of character. Started running out of detail because this picture was low res. Unfortunately, my tablet struggles when I try to record and draw at the same time, so this was a bit trickier to draw than I normally would have been because of that situation. So I had to keep the picture kind of low resolution, as well as leaving a lot of the detail out, because if I had added extra layers or anything, it would have probably just struggled. So then I just started rendering the hair and having some fun with the hair and all that. So nothing too crazy, but this, in about an hour and 20 minutes, I kind of did this little goofy sketch. It's out of proportion, and it gives you an idea that when you start with the whole body, it's a little easier to get closer to proportions that way. And even though this only took me an hour, it's still got a character that kind of looks like a character, oops, there goes my video playing program. But you end up with a character that kind of looks like a character, and it's best to, when you see what's wrong with it, it isn't until we get to that stage, like around, let me see if I can get the video to play back again. It isn't until you get to certain places that you realize the character has problems. Like around here, the shoulders are off kilter, and you can see that. There's different stages. If I had been serious about this character, I would have put more effort into getting her proportions right. But I didn't even have a vision for what this character was going to look like, and she looks nothing like the character she was supposed to be, so it's not really all that important. But when you're doing details, like right here, her face is all off kilter and her mouth is in the wrong place. I end up moving her mouth a bit, but it's still not quite right, but it isn't until you have certain features that you know certain features are wrong. So the more of the body you have, the more of the character you can have with less commitment to it, the better off you are, because then you can start making alterations to the character and changes before you've committed to any serious lines. If you were doing this in pencil, real pencil, the darker the lines are, the harder they are to erase. In digital, you can erase as much as you want, but you don't want your eyes getting stuck on lines you're not going to keep. So it's best to keep the drawing real loose like this, where you've got as much of the torso and the body and the legs as you can have without any real committal lines. So I'm hoping this helps. And everybody who sees this, if you guys, like this, go check out Dasilva on his channel. I'll have it linked below, and give him some likes and give him some love. And if you got any helpful hints or anything you can give him, send it his way, because he's struggling. He's at that spot where all of us get, where you're kind of stuck at a wall and you don't know what to do to get better. And having things like this will not only help him get faster a little bit. I'm not the fastest person in the world or anything, and I'm not the best artist in the world, but I was hoping to be able to give a little bit of helpful hints and a little bit of tricks to make him have an easier time drawing and have a faster time drawing. And it's easier to see what's wrong with this figure now because more of it's here, and I'm hoping that he's able to do that with his, so he can make corrections instead of being dedicated to lines that he's not going to keep. So anyway, until the next video, I'm going to have probably some more videos on drawing displays, the ones I've bought, what I like about them, what I don't, recommendations for people that any analog artist getting to digital, this is going to be more or less the place for you. If you guys are only in the digital, I'm not sure how much help I'll be because I'm still basically just starting my digital art journey, so I don't know whether I'll have any useful information for people that are deep in the digital. But if you're analog and you're moving over to digital, I might be able to help. So keep an eye on this channel and maybe subscribe if you're interested. And take care, everyone, and keep drawing and be nice to each other. Peace out.